Welcome to Sakura Dreams. Tonight, from across the ocean, we bring you a story of autumn in Japan. In Japan, the third Monday of September is designated as Respect for the Aged Day. It's a special occasion to honor the elderly who have dedicated themselves to society for so long and to celebrate their longevity. On this day, children and grandchildren express their gratitude by giving handmade gifts or sharing a meal with their grandparents. It's not just a celebration of long life, but a precious time to reaffirm the warmth of family and the wisdom passed down through generations. The protagonist of tonight's story is Hana, a young woman working in Tokyo. Her hometown is a quiet village with a traditional countryside landscape. And there lives the person she cherishes most, her grandmother. If you enjoy this content, please consider subscribing to the channel. Caught between the hustle and bustle of the city and the tranquility of her hometown, Hana, living so far away, felt her thoughts of her grandmother grow stronger as Respect for the Aged Day approached. Hana stared vaguely at her smartphone screen. Respect for the Aged Day was just around the corner. Her social media timeline was filled with happy photos of friends spending time with their grandparents. I wonder how Grandma is. As she held her phone, her grandmother's face naturally came to mind. This year, she would be in Tokyo for the holiday as well. She talked on the phone every few months, but she hadn't been able to see her in person to express her gratitude. Hana's grandmother, Ayano, was a spry woman in her 80s with a straight back. She always wore a smile and would treat her visiting grandchildren to warm tea and homemade Japanese sweets. Her grandmother's house was the only place where Hana could truly find peace, away from the hectic pace of city life. The time she spent with her grandmother on the veranda was especially etched in Hana's heart. On summer afternoons, to the cool, clear sound of a wind chime, her grandmother would tell her old stories. They were always about how she met Hana's grandfather and the path they had walked together in this village. Your grandpa, he was a truly clumsy man, you know. But he was kinder than anyone else. Her grandmother said that, looking out at the small garden visible from the veranda, it was a place her grandfather had carefully tended every day while he was alive. One time, Hana had asked her, "Grandma, don't you get lonely since Grandpa passed?" Her grandmother closed her eyes for a moment, and then smiled gently. It would be a lie to say I'm not lonely. But it's not just loneliness. When I look at this garden, I can see your grandpa's gentle hands in my mind. This house is filled with so many memories of your grandpa. That's why I'm not alone. Her grandmother's words shook little Hana's heart. Though she couldn't fully understand the deep meaning of her grandmother's words, she could certainly feel their warmth. Even in the city, Hana would sometimes feel lonely without a reason. Even when surrounded by many people, she would be overcome with the feeling of being completely alone. At those times, what she always remembered was her grandmother's warm voice on the veranda and the smell of the summer breeze. Hana stared out at the Tokyo nightscape. It was a sea of countless lights from buildings, like stars scattered across the sky. She knew that behind each light was a person leading a busy, yet somehow unfulfilled life. She felt as though she was being swallowed up by this sea of light. Hana wanted a warm cup of coffee, so she put instant coffee into her favorite mug and poured in hot water. She happened to look down at the mug in her hand, and from the rising steam, she felt the illusion of the scent of soil. It was the smell of the soil in her grandmother's garden, wet with morning dew. Hana slowly closed her eyes. Flashback starts. This was back when Hana still carried a school backpack. During summer vacation, she would spend almost every day at her grandmother's house. Her grandmother always went out to the garden early in the morning to tend to the vegetables and flowers her grandfather had left behind. Hana would follow behind her, like a little shadow. "Hana, look at this." Her grandmother pointed to a small tomato plant. It had small, firm, green fruit on it. "This little one, right now, it's soaking up a lot of sunlight and slowly preparing to grow big. You shouldn't rush. Nature moves slowly, but surely." Her grandmother's fingertips were magically gentle as she touched the small plant. Hana imitated her, and carefully touched the tomato fruit. Her grandmother's hands were wrinkled and a little rough, but they were so warm. That warmth seemed to slowly spread and soak into Hana's heart. City life always seemed to be rushing her, urging her to go faster, faster. Her work, her relationships, everything was changing at a dizzying pace. She even felt that having time to dedicate herself fully to one thing was a luxury. But what her grandmother taught her was the beauty of taking time. Things made in a hurry will break easily. But things made slowly and with heart will remain in a person's heart, even if the form is gone. The time she spent at her grandmother's house was exactly as her grandmother had said. Together, they made plump ohagi rice cakes and vibrant narakiri sweets. Her grandmother would carefully mix each ingredient, shape them, and finish them like small works of art. Every time Hana took a bite of those sweets, she felt her grandmother's warm hands gently wrapping around her heart. What her grandmother taught her wasn't limited to cooking. On the veranda, she took out a needle and thread from an old wooden box. Her grandmother would carefully mend old kimonos and embroider Hana's favorite patterns for her. This thread is like the connection between people. Even if we're apart, we're still connected like this. That's why you're not alone. Her grandmother said that as she put the thread through the needle and made one stitch after another, slowly, her movements were as if she were carefully weaving together memories of her grandfather. Just by watching her work, Hana felt her heart fill with contentment. As Hana thought about what she could do to connect with her grandmother, an idea suddenly came to her: a letter. She took a letter set out of a drawer and began to write down everything she wanted to tell her grandmother. Hana had so many things she wanted to tell her grandmother that she worried the letter would become a jumbled mess. So she first carefully selected what she wanted to convey, deciding what was most important to express. Hana became so absorbed in writing the letter that she continued until dawn. Several days passed after Hana mailed the letter. City life was as busy as ever. In the mornings, she was swept away by the crowds, and at night, she would return home lost among the lights of the buildings. The calm, fulfilled feeling from the night she wrote the letter seemed to be getting buried in the daily hustle. One evening after the rain, Hana checked her mailbox on the way home from work. As usual, she expected only bills and junk mail. But among them, she found an envelope with a familiar, yet nostalgic, handwriting. It was from her grandmother. With trembling hands, she took the envelope and went back to her room. Forgetting to turn on the living room lights, Hana stood by the window and slowly opened the letter under the fading sunset. On the letterhead, her grandmother's warm, slightly shaky handwriting was carefully written, character by character. To Hana. Just seeing those first words made Hana's eyes well up with tears. Hana, are you well? I was so surprised. When your letter arrived, I was so happy I shouted out loud. I've read it again and again. I knew you were working hard in the city, but I never imagined you'd send me a letter so full of heart. Your grandmother is truly a happy person. The memories of the veranda you wrote about, making ohagi rice cakes, and your grandpa's garden. To think you remembered those times, even after so many years, filled my heart as if it were just yesterday. It sounds like things can be tough in the city, but reading your letter put my mind at ease. You're not just busy, Hana. You're facing everything with your heart. That's something your grandpa taught me, too. When you rush and get caught up in fleeting things, you can lose sight of what's truly important. You've found it, Hana. I'm so proud of you. Even as I write this, I can feel our hearts connected. Though we're far apart, we're not alone. A letter connects our two hearts like a thread and a needle. The plum tree on the veranda gave a lot of fruit this year, too. Let's make plum juice together next year. Your grandpa's garden is just as he left it. I try to tend to it sometimes, but it doesn't go as well as I'd like. Still, I have a feeling your grandpa is right here beside me. Will you help me in the garden again when you come home, Hana? Your mother and father are doing well. They worry about you, but more than that, they're always grateful. They say they're happy because you're here. Come home anytime you like. This house will always be your home. I'll write to you again. Take care of yourself. From your grandmother. Tears streamed down Hana's cheeks as she finished reading the letter. They weren't tears of sadness, but of warmth, gentleness, and boundless love. Her grandmother's letter soaked deep into her heart, warming the coldness she had been carrying. Her grandmother not only rejoiced in Hana's growth but also quietly enveloped her loneliness from a faraway place. Hana hugged the letter to her chest and took a deep breath. That's right, she wasn't alone. The precious thing she thought she had lost in the chaos of the city had been in her heart all along. The letter was made of paper and ink, but it was also her grandmother's warm hands themselves. No physical distance could ever separate their hearts. The letter filled Hana's heart completely, and she headed to her bed. Tonight, she would surely have a warm dream of her grandmother. After reading her grandmother's letter, Hana made a decision. I want to see her. The warmth in the letter had healed the loneliness in her heart. But at the same time, she felt a powerful urge to see her grandmother and tell her how she felt in person. Hana decided to go back to her hometown for the weekend. She started looking for a special gift to bring. It wasn't just any item, but something that could convey her heart, just like the letter. One day, on her way home from work, she happened to stop by a Zahuo Dian and something caught her eye. It was a simple, wooden photo frame. This is it. Hana picked up the photo frame, deciding to put a memory of her grandmother in it and give it to her as a gift. As soon as she made that decision, her heart was filled with a warm light. Back home, Hana pulled out an old photo album. As she turned the pages, she saw her grandmother's nostalgic smile in the faded photos. A picture of the two of them making Japanese sweets on the veranda. A picture of a tiny Hana mimicking her grandmother, bending down in the garden. In every photo, her grandmother's warm hands were gently embracing Hana. Among them, Hana found one particular photo. It was from when she was very young, sitting on her grandmother's lap on the veranda, being taught how to mend an old kimono. Her grandmother had a gentle smile, and was softly supporting Hana's hands, which held the needle and thread. Hana chose this photo. When she felt lonely in the city and her heart was about to break, what saved her was her grandmother's message in the letter. "We are not alone." The true meaning of those words was right there in this photograph. On a Saturday morning, Hana jumped on the bullet train. The scenery outside the window changed one after another. From a cluster of skyscrapers to residential neighborhoods, and then to the familiar countryside with rice paddies and fields. The scent of soil and grass, which wasn't in the city air, gently brushed against Hana's cheek from the slightly open window. When she got off at the nearest station, Hana took a deep breath. Her heart and body felt as though they were melting into her hometown's air. She took a taxi to her grandmother's house. "Grandma, I'm coming now." As she whispered that in her heart, her own heart was pounding. In front of the house, a nostalgic garden spread out. In the small field that her grandmother tended, summer vegetables were gone, and the signs of autumn were starting to appear. And the high-pitched call of the Sukutsukaboshi cicada, a bug that appears at the end of summer, echoed all around. Hana took a deep breath and put her hand on the sliding door of the entrance. "I'm home." When she said that, her grandmother slowly showed her face from the back of the house. "Oh, Hana, what's wrong? You didn't even call." Her grandmother stared at Hana with a look that mixed surprise and joy. Without saying a word, Hana simply ran into her grandmother's arms. She hugged her grandmother's back tightly, just like when she was a child. "Thank you for your letter. I was so happy." Hana said that with a trembling voice. Her grandmother gently stroked Hana's head and replied, "No, thank you." Her voice was filled with relief and happiness. Sitting on the veranda, drinking warm tea, Hana held out the photo frame to her grandmother. "Grandma, this is a gift for respect for the aged day." Her grandmother slowly took the photo frame. The moment she saw the photo inside, she smiled. Her eyes instantly welled up with tears. Oh, how nostalgic. I can't believe this picture survived. Her grandmother looked back and forth between the photo of a young Hana and herself, and lovingly traced the edge of the picture with her finger. I still remember what I said to you back then, Hana. This thread is like the connection between people. But it's so true, isn't it? When your letter arrived, it made me so happy to know that this thread was still connected. Hana's heart was filled with warmth by her grandmother's words. This photo frame is a treasure that connects you and me, Grandma. Everything you taught me is all properly connected inside me. When Hana said that, she gently wrapped her own hands around her grandmother's warm hands. There was no city hustle here. There was only the gentle breeze blowing across the veranda and the precious time with her beloved family. Physical distance couldn't separate their hearts. Hana was certain that this warm connection would continue to support her heart forever.
you.